Hi everybody, it's Lou Sims from Lou Sims Paper Crafter, and it's day 3 sharing with you the wonderful Polkadoodles Halloween themed stamps. And we've looked at some of the other stamp sets and using some of the papers from the paper kit, but today we're going to go on to and we're going to look at using the monsters, and this one is Freaky Monsters. And we're going to use this one, and we're going to make it doesn't shake because I've absolutely rammed it full of M&Ms, as you can see there. You could put less in, but the idea behind it is that you can tear open this part here and you can then get to it. So it's a Halloween card with its own treat. So we're going to use lots of different elements from the monsters. I've got lots of my bits and pieces already done, including the die cutting. And so I can get all the holes in place ready to go, as you can see there, and my backing plate. So what I'll do is I'll move things out of the way and then we'll get started with actually making. Okay, let's begin. Now I've put all the bits away for the moment that we don't need, but the one part we are going to start on is the card front, and it's already had the aperture die cut away, ready for the shaker element. And I'm going to use the same stencil that I did in my second project, and I'm just going to do a random background. And the reason I've gone for circles on this one is, one, because of the circle on the aperture, and two, it's got cute little circles on him, and I think that matched up perfectly. Now we're going to have a sentiment on here, and the sentiment comes from the Hey Pumpkin stamp set, and let's brew up some fun. But before I stamp that, I need to know where all my different elements are going to. So like as before, I've just stamped them out and cut them out, ready to go. And I've got your little freaky monster to go there. So I now know that my sentiment can come down around about here. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to put my sentiment there. Now the sentiment originally from the I forgot what it's called already, Hey Pumpkin set, is one long word, but we're only going to use up part of it. So let's just move my inks. And that's our background completed. Oh, excuse me. I'm just going to put that to one side. And now we've got the different elements that just need colouring up. I'm going to use pens again. And what I'll do is I'll just get them out. And as I've said in previous videos, I colour as I like to see things, not necessarily how they should or shouldn't be blending wise. I'll even do clashes of colours, you know, whatever suits, as it were. So I'll get my pens out and we'll make a start. Right, that's everything coloured up. And I've added a few white highlights and a few darker bits and pieces, as you saw as I went through. I might add some bits on here, I'm not quite sure yet. But I'm going to tidy my pens away, and then I'm going to bring everything back and we can start to make the card. Right, I've grabbed everything together and we're going to have a go at making this shaker blister. Now, I'm going to tip my M&Ms out the way for the moment. Blister domes. I've got mine via Tonic, and it's, oh, I'm trying to think. It fits lots of the different circle dies that Tonic have brought out. So there's decorative ones and things like that, but it's perfect for holding sweets in, rather than a flat shaker card. So it's absolutely perfect. Now we've got our front layer, as I said before, and we've cut all the way through, as you can see there, and it matches up. So then our dome would fit through like that, and then we would be able to fill it from behind. Okay, now what we do need to do is we do need to cover the foil, and I've cut some extra plates to actually do that. And so we're going to start putting it all together in a way. I think I'm trying to think of a way of explaining it to you, and I think it's going to be easier if I demonstrate rather than try to keep verbally explaining. So let's stick the front part down, as you can see. And a bit around there. And line them up. Brilliant. Now, on the blisters, this white part that you see here is actually adhesive, but there is nothing around here. So I do actually want to add a little bit of adhesive on there while we then prep our other part to hold the M&Ms. That way. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to stick this into place. It just gives it, it's not always needed, I'm being honest, but it just gives it that extra little bit of rigidity. So I'm just going to go and get my cloth to get the excess glue. So if I lie this flat down, I'm just going to take away the glue. Now, the one I made previously, I did actually clean out the inside of the blister before putting my sweets in. For this video purposes, I'm just going to go for it. Now I've got ink mark there, but that's fine because I'll just get a rubber and we'll get rid of that. So I'm just going to let that sit for a few minutes, and that will actually take, and we'll come on to doing the tin foil part. So just move that out of the way. Now put my M&Ms. Now I'm using a heavyweight tin foil, and all I've done is just taken a piece and I've folded it in half. And I'm just going to put a little bit of red liner tape around the different places, just so it keeps together, but I'm trying to imagine where the circle is going to be. So it just holds it together. Now I'm doing 2 layers. Main reason I've done 2 layers is that when the M&Ms are really close together, when they're really close together, they rub against each other. So I'll show you that. So I've got some of them flat, but some of them are sitting semi upright, and they bulge through on this side. Now if I had a single layer here, there is the risk, even though this is strong aluminium foil, tin foil, that they could pop through, which then destroys the illusion of the card. So I'll just rub them down. It's just a novel bit of fun. I mean, you could do it in a totally different way. You could still have the aperture done and fill an actual sweetie bag and do it, and then have it coming in the back so you sneak in. Right, so there we go. So that's getting that bit there. Now what I do need to do on the inside here is I need to be able to, I'm going to put this here to cover, my tin foil, but I need to be able to see where I've got to put it. So what I'm going to do is just grab a pencil, which I thought I had out. Now, with hindsight, it would have probably been easier to do it without the blister in, but never mind. And I'm just going to do some pencil lines where I'm going to line up to. And I pushed my blister out, but that's fine, it'll stay in. So that now means when I've got everything sorted, I know that that's going to fit that way. The other thing I am going to do is I'm just going to do an arrow up, so I know which way that's going. Again, they're pencils, so they can easily be rubbed out. All right, let's just put that to one side. So we've got our aluminium foil. Doesn't matter, like I said, I would clean it before adding on. So what we're going to do is we're just going to now add our extra bit of card, and I'm going to do it with the red liner tape, just for added grip. I mean, you can do both and then add some glue on top. It's just, I found this sticks a little bit better. Hot glue gun would work, but the only thing with hot glue, it does create a raised area, which is not always what we want on the inside. So let's put that to one side and smooth this down. And just take these away. And then I'm just going to stick this down. Move these. And then I'm just going to trim the excess away. There we go. So that now is our portion. It is a little bit tougher than if it was just one layer, but it does allow the M&Ms not to just sit flat. We've got our bit here. I'm going to just do that. I've got a clean-ish cloth. Let me just do that because the glue, move the glue there. There we go. And this is where the M&Ms come in. Now, I wodged my last one full. You don't have to. So, for example, if you want to shake a noise, you leave, so there's space to move around. If you want a little bit more, you just add a little bit more and pack it in. I've just turned some of the M's facing the other way, so the person who receives the card realizes, you know, that that it is edible treats. Okay. So they're going to sit there and put that a little bit flatter. These are chocolate, just in case of any allergies. Oh, I've caught my tin foil, but that doesn't matter. I'm going to add another. So it's a novel way of sending a Halloween card, and there's a little treat in there as well. And then the card is still can be used afterwards as a decorative item. Let's move that out of the way. And I just put an extra bit of red liner tape there on the inside. There we go. So, as I said, regarding the amount of M&Ms, it depends whether you want it to shake, as I said. So you would put slightly less in, or you just want to ram it full. So what I'll do actually with this one, I'll take some of them out so you can then see the difference. Also, I suppose it depends on your generosity too. You could put smaller sweets in there if you could find some. You don't have to put M&Ms. So let's have a look. Let's take out that yellow. Does that still... Yeah, that makes a bit more of a... And a brown. Now we've definitely got room here. So, as I remember, my arrow's pointing up. I can then line up my cards with my pencil line. And then I can just stick it down in place. So now, you just tear through there, and you can get to the sweets. Just get that in place. So as I said, now that moves, and they can move around and make a bit of noise, whereas this one doesn't make any noise at all. Okay, or these ones will. So it's your choice. I mean, I've rammed this as much as I can. This one, I haven't put as much in. I mean, the smallest little sweets you could put there that you could put even more in. I wouldn't put things like sherbet and stuff like that in, because I'm not sure how you'd get it back out again. Right, so on to our elements. So we've got our little monster sitting there. And I might move him up a little bit, which covers my black mark, but we'll see. I'll get a rubber. I've got my test tube, because we're brewing up something. And then I've got my other little monsters that are going to go around the outside. To cover all the die cutting, I have cut myself a little frame in black. And I just thought that hid the raw edges of where the card met. And also tied in a little bit more with the black. So I'm just going to put that on first. Way too much glue. Let's get rid of some. There we go. I'm just going to take away the glue. Alright, there we go. So that's just framed that. And now we're just going to add our other elements. And I'm going to layer him up. So there he's sitting and resting against the actual blister where the sweets are. Now, you could have just leave it with, once we get him in place, you could just leave it with just the monster and his test tube. You don't have to add the other little bits and pieces on if you don't want to. And I want to stick his feet down. I'm going to put some down there. Okay. So let's brew up some fun. And I've got the test tube, so I just need a couple of 3D foam pad. One there. I'm trying to tuck it behind his ear, like that. There we go. And then I've got my smaller monsters, and I'm going to layer them up, and I'm just going to put a couple of little 3D foam pads behind them as well. Move that out of the way. Put that one there. And put that one there. They look like they're going round, or they're walking round the actual blister. That was the vision in my head anyhow. I could have added some, I suppose, some little arrows, and then that would have probably pointed out the direction a little bit more. And then finally that one on there. So add a little bit of glue to his ear. And that just holds that in place. So we've got, I'm just holding that in place for the moment. What we could do is we could actually just put a little bit of grey there just to ground him, which I might do actually afterwards. But that is our shaker card full of actually sweets. So it's a treat within a Halloween card. And we've used M&Ms. Sorry, I'm going to eat one now. So we've used that monster, the smaller one, and that one, and the test tube from the actual kit. So, sorry, I'm eating, which is very rude. So that's the actual side of it. It can be sent to someone. You could put an instruction inside on this part here, or a little sticker saying tear away, so they know what to do. You could make it a lot larger. I could have done a rectangular one, but without the blister. But I wanted to actually use the blister just to make sure everything kept in place. Now, it is obviously a little bit thicker, so it would be a little bit more expensive to send, but probably not that much more expensive, and it is such a little novel idea. So that's day 3. I hope you've enjoyed that. And I'd love to see if you have a go at making your own shakers. What you put inside food-wise that's edible to be sent as gifts. I'll be back again with day 4 with another wonderful make using the stamps from Polkadoodles, whether it's the Monsters collection or the Halloween collection or even the papers. As before, I'll put all the links down below. And I look forward to catching up with you tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.